This is Renelle, and welcome to Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and friends. And here he is now, your host, my main man, Rod Brooks.
Thank you very much, Renelle. I am Rod Brooks, and this is indeed Quality Hang. And as always, I'm joined on this broadcasting adventure by my partner in crime, the co-host of this show, my friend and yours. He is Marcus Osborne. What up, dog? How you doing?
What is up? I was having a little mic problems before we got on here, and definitely the AI. There's an issue.
By the way, just want to let folks, Mike,
issue.
Not a metaphor. He's talking about the microphone. Okay.
Literally talking about the microphone.
He was talking about the equipment we use to bring you Quality Hang. He was not referring to something else
Crazy, bro.
In a campy way.
I'll share some AI stuff with you later on. It's crazy.
It's coming for us all.
Holy moly.
Someone mentioned that, when the internet came out, I didn't think it was going to be a fad. I just kind of didn't think about it. But some people thought it was going to be a fad. And now the internet is ubiquitous. You can't do anything without it.
Irreplaceable.
It is absolutely irreplaceable. And they say that AI is the exact same thing. There are people who are either thinking that AI is a fad or they're not taking it seriously. And AI is going to absolutely just completely and totally change the way we live. And it's going to happen. If it took less than 30 years for the internet to become globally the most important thing outside of food and water for human beings, you would think that it's going to take AI significantly less time.
I find myself using it constantly.
See, I don't. It's interesting is that I don't, but there are people, and more of them every day, especially when it comes to writing, that people who use AI, and it is, to them, it's God's gift to mankind.
For fact finding, for just certain prompts, for interesting things. I mean, if I want a business plan, I just go in and go, I need a business plan for a comedy club. It comes out 30 seconds. Completely done.
Brother,
it's insane.
You want to talk business plans? I got a business plan for you. Barbershop / rap studio. We put them in the same place.
That will work.
And if you want to sell, food in the front and drugs in the back, you got everything you need. Perfect. That's a solid business plan, Marcus, that your boy just came up with for you. You can have it completely, but if you do blow up, I'm gonna need a little bit of that money.
Okay? Listen, it's a fantastic, a fantastic business idea.
Absolutely foolproof. You will not run afoul of the law or any church affiliated groups at all.
Wow. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, this whole AI thing is game changing. I mean, people are using it now to write the cover letters and get over in college, but now college is coming up with ways to catch the AI because there's a certain watermark the AI stuff leaves. It's crazy.
Well, the one thing I am seeing with AI now, have you seen these videos of babies, AI generated babies that are acting out movie and television scenes? Like that's the AI I've been bombarded with over, let's just say, the past couple of weeks on social media. But you'll know when AI is a serious part of not just American life, but life around the world when we start using it for pornographic reasons. That's once we figured out that the internet was the place to go to get your freak on, whether you like to watch videos or whether you want to meet other like-minded people. Once we cracked that code, that's when the internet became the internet. That's when it became ubiquitous, and it was here to stay. Once we figured out, if we haven't already, I'm sure somebody in Japan or Korea has already figured out a way to freaky deaky AI. But once that becomes mainstream, then it's over. It's like that scene in the Mike Judge movie. God darn it, I'm blanking on it now.
Not her.
Idiocracy.
Oh yeah.
Where the guy just sits in his house and somebody knocks on his door and he goes, "Go away, I'm baiting." Like we're just gonna sit in our house and we're just gonna bait.
That's what? I think if we actually come up with that, that might actually be the answer to all the incel drama. Because those dudes are dangerous. They not get no cooch. So give them some AI.
Hey, Hey man, we 5 minutes into the show and already you dropping cooch bombs? 5 minutes into the first show of the week, and
We just
bam,
got
we right in the
started.
mix. Wow. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just wasn't ready for the overhand right of the word cooch. 5 minutes, 5
He
minutes
wasn't ready.
into the show. But yeah, I mean, it's either going to be AI assisted pornography or sex robots, whichever happens first. It's going to be. Is it going to be whichever happens first is going to be the dominant sort of paradigm,
Shoot.
sexually in this new AI world, or is it going to be like Sony or VHS versus Betamax? Like eventually, we're going to have both, and then the free market's going to decide, right?
As it always does. That's why
Because
we have porn.
we decided 40 years ago, we decided we wanted to go with VHS tapes. So we didn't want to mess around with Sony Betamax.
Shoot.
It's going to be 40, 50 years later. We're going to decide we just want AI assisted pornography. We don't want sex robots, so maybe we go with the sex robots. Who knows?
Do you know how safe jails would become?
I got to tell you, hadn't really thought about it, but I guess I have to now.
They would they would become super safe.
I'm forced to reckon with it now that you brought it up.
Cruise through the pen. And everybody's just, hey, Mr. Brooks.
Wait. But you know what? We've started this show in a very weird and freaky way. Let's get back on track. Let's get back how we normally start the show. And we start the show, if I've created enough of a buffer, we always start the show by thanking our fine presenting sponsor, Hop Monk Taverns. 3 locations to choose from: Novato, Sonoma, and in Sebastopol. Don't let the word tavern fool you. Yes, they have tavern-like amenities. There's a bar. There's great craft beers. Yep. There is a great full bar selection at all 3 Hop Monk locations. But here's 2 things that are great about Hop Monk. It is indeed family friendly. The menu is outstanding, good for adults and the children's. But the best thing for me about Hop Monk is that there's live music at all 3 venues. And while you can get and will get touring acts from around the country to stop into the Hop Monk venues to play because they are that well known in musician touring circles, what is the best part about Hop Monk for me is that it's a place for local musicians, for local talents to play and to show people what they have. So to see what's coming up live music, live entertainment wise at all 3 Hop Monk locations in Sebastopol, Sonoma, and Novato, check them out online at hopmonk.com. All right, now that we've done that, let's get back to talking about. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get back into the other stuff down the road. But NBA Finals are set, Marcus, and no surprise that the Oklahoma City Thunder are heavy favorites to beat the Indiana Pacers. The OKC is minus 700, and if gambling is your thing, minus 700 is pretty big. And as far as Vegas is concerned, not that they use betting lines as a predictor, but you could clearly see that folks who are interested in this sort of thing see the Oklahoma City Thunder as overwhelming favorites to win their first title as the Oklahoma City Thunder. They came from Seattle. Seattle won the title back in the late 70s. But OKC, to their credit, even though they took the team from Seattle, they don't claim that Seattle title. So I will give OKC that credit. So no surprise, Marcus, that OKC is a heavy favorite. And for me, no surprise that these 2 teams are in the finals. Since January 1st, Oklahoma City's record, 53-13. Indiana's record, 46-18. Both of those records since January 1st. We're talking 6 months. We're talking a good portion of the NBA season. Yeah. These 2 teams that are in the finals coming up on Thursday, since Jan 1, both have had the best record in the NBA.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes complete sense. It's going to be an interesting final. It's going to be, listen, it's either going to be a gentleman's sweep or we're going to go 7 games. Like, I don't think there's an in-between. Oklahoma City will dominate if they play the defense that they've been playing all season long. And also if Indiana, if Indy does this whole let me get behind by double digits in the beginning, this is going to be over quick.
No, they're not going to Indiana be afforded the luxury that they were afforded in a game in each of the 3 Eastern Conference playoff
Yep.
series that they had to deal with. Milwaukee choked away a game that
Yep.
Indiana eventually won. The Cavs choked away a game that
Yep.
Indiana eventually won. And the
Mhm.
Knicks choked away game 1 that Indiana won. And that's the one that the Knicks are going to be kicking themselves about
They should.
for a long time. I
They
can
should.
promise you this. The Oklahoma City Thunder are not going to choke away a
Mm-mm.
substantial lead in the
Mm-mm.
second half or the fourth quarter of any of the games
Nope.
that they will play in the NBA Finals against
Not a chance.
the Indiana Pacers. They are absolutely not going to do that. So now for the Pacers, who I think are if they play the right way, they can be a formidable, he tried to say in English, opponent for the Indiana Pacers or for the
Absolutely.
Oklahoma City Thunder. I just think what Oklahoma City brings defensively, and we've been talking about this all playoff long. You know, we started doing quality hang at the beginning of the playoffs, and what was very, very obvious is that Oklahoma City's defense is championship worthy. I really love this graphic from the folks at Sports Radar that shows you the matchup and shows you what both teams have, in particular, Marcus, what the Thunder have. And here's where the Thunder, in my estimation, here's what makes them so good defensively. This wing depth right here. What they can do with these wings on the perimeter, my estimation, is going to give the Indiana Pacers a whole lot of trouble, because the Pacers, who do have a bunch of guys who could do some things offensively, with the way that the Thunder choke you out on a perimeter with these wings and the big guards too, like Caruso, obviously like Dort, what they can do with those guys who are all 6'4" to 6'5", 6'8" to 6'9", they can play you straight up defensively. They switch, they turn you over, and turning you over gets that Oklahoma City offense going. And if you happen to get by Oklahoma City's first line of defense with their big guards and their wings, they got 2 guys in the back in Chet and Hartenstein, who are legit 7-footers. Chet's a little light, but Chet blocks a lot of shots. Hartenstein, bigger bodied guy. They got guys who could protect the rim. That's tough sledding for Indiana, especially for a team that doesn't shoot the ball from 3 particularly great.
Yeah, this is going to be very, like I said, it's going to be very tight. How will Halliburton do? As he goes, the team will go. Even though he maybe thought he was a little bit better than he was, but
we'll get to that in a second.
I know you'll get to that. but fact is that he's the best player on their team. If he can play the way he's been playing, then they got a shot.
Yeah, and, but the problem with that.
Shout out to Siakam, though, because that is a dude who's got a ring.
Yeah.
Got a ring. So it's not a surprise that he was able to elevate his game during the postseason.
No, listen, you got Siakam, so you feel pretty good that if Halliburton is stymied for a game or for the majority of a game by Lou Dort, clearly OKC's best defender and the guy that's going to be tasked with, at least from the beginning, and stopping Tyrese Halliburton, you feel good about Siakam. But the problem is, again, for the Knicks, they didn't have anybody who could match up with Siakam. They didn't have anybody who could match up defensively with Nembhard when he got going, when he scored 20 points in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks blew that fourth quarter lead in game 1. Oklahoma City, they got guys who can match up with Siakam. They got guys who can match up with Nembhard. They got guys who, hey, if Obi Toppin is running up and down the floor and he's getting frisky, they've got guys who can shut that down. This is not to say that Indiana is not worthy of where they are, clearly. But when you look at it from a standpoint of matchups and what OKC possesses to stop what Indiana likes to do offensively, I just have a hard time seeing Indiana being able to 4 out of 7 games crack a very serious code that is that OKC defense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what sort of strategy they applied towards penetrating that OKC offense. It'll really be interesting to see what they try to do, because as I saw OKC, I think, like I said, I think the only way to go at them, but that is sustainable, is having somebody like a Steph Curry who can mess up that defense and not allow them to get set, because he's constantly moving. So you don't have guys standing on the perimeter just waiting to shoot. You got dudes that are constantly in motion, or you get a dominant big in the middle who can sort of orchestrate the offense. That I guess what I'm saying is constant motion is the only thing that I feel like can really get through that OKC defense.
Well, and here's the thing about the Pacers is that they have constant motion, but it's up and down the court. They don't necessarily have the constant motion you're talking about that we know really from the Warriors is that motion from side to side in the half court. So not having that, and listen, maybe the Pacers will surprise, but the Pacers not necessarily having that in their arsenal, not being a half court team, and on top of that, and I've mentioned this before, this is not to compare OKC to the great Warrior teams, but they do have a little something that when the Warriors were cooking, it made them impossible to beat. The way Oklahoma City gets after you defensively and the way they turn you over, that just ignites a team that's already pretty good offensively, led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. When the Warriors were really cooking, as great as they were offensively, and I'm talking about the Steph, Clay, and Kevin Durant days, when they were really cooking, it was their defense that was the tip of the spear. It was their defense that was igniting their offense. That's why they were choking you out in the third quarter, during those really good times, because they'd come back, halftime adjustments. They would just turn the screws on you defensively. And the next thing you know, you're down 19 and you're drowning. And they're throwing concrete at you to make sure that you don't stay above the water. OKC does the exact same thing. And I fear for the Pacers that they're going to, over at least a couple of games, they're going to run into an OKC that is a defensive juggernaut. And I don't know if they have the counter to what OKC does defensively from the half court line all the way to the basket.
It's going to be a hang on game. It's just going to be let's not get blown out. Let's make sure if we're within 7-10 in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes left, we got a shot. That's their only hope. You can't get behind by 15 points. That's a wrap. You can't get behind by 15 at any point. Remember that year, the Warriors, anytime they got up by 15, they didn't lose. No, that's the same thing I'm saying here with OKC.
They didn't blow leads because they had defense.
You're just not gonna catch up with these dudes. So they got to figure out a way. And I don't even really think it's weird to say. I don't even really think that SGA is going to be the big problem for these dudes. I think it's going to be that defense.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, that's the biggest issue. 100%.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest
issue.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue. And by the way, if you can find a way to deal with that issue, now you got to deal with a guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and really a good Oklahoma City team offensively that while he is their guy, clearly, as the MVP, he doesn't have to be great all the time, Gilgeous-Alexander, for OKC to win. He is great most of the time because he is that good of a player. And, yes, he has figured out a way, as a lot of guys have, to use the rules nowadays in the NBA to his advantage. But putting that aside, he is absolutely lethal when it comes to mid-range, which obviously is a lost art, and he's absolutely lethal when it comes to getting to the basket, putting aside the foul baiting, and I think it's fair to call it that, the foul baiting that he does aside. But if for whatever reason Indiana finds a way to slow or just blunt the force of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you still got Williams. You still got other guys who can. You still got Dort. I think he is a guy as good as he is defensively. He's not a zero offensively. There's enough guys in that Oklahoma City team that can do everything that they need done defensively, especially, and offensively. But really, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and everybody falls in line. But they don't have to do a lot offensively in sort of a half-court set. Shai can operate in there, obviously. But because they turn you over so much, OKC, all the rest of those guys got to do is just get out and run. And in the NBA, if you're out there in that fast break and you're a team of OKC's caliber, you're running a lot of squads out the gym.
Yeah, getting those hands in those passing lanes, getting those turnovers, mucking things up.
They do it better than anybody else.
I don't think the key is, can Indy win 2 games? Can they get 2 games? Because I don't think they're going to win this series.
I mean, I said it after Game 6. This to me looks like OKC in 5. for all the things I mentioned, mainly defensively. I want 6. I want 7. I want a classic finals. And I think, again, with as good as both of these teams have been since the beginning of the season, and as good as Indiana is offensively, you could kind of see it, but dude, OKC is just too damn good defensively. And it's cliched, but it's true. Defense wins championships. And
Never
with the
fails.
way they play defense and the way that they operate offensively off of that defense, I give Indiana I give them a chance to win 1 because I think they're too good to get blown out. But more than 5, hey man, they're minus 700 for a reason. It's not just me who's saying it, all right? They're heavy underdogs for a reason. So there you go.
If they win, this could be one of the biggest upsets we've seen in the history of the NBA.
I mean, the only bigger upset, because every other team, I saw the graphic, but I didn't put it in so we could bring it up here. But every other team that has had been a bigger favorite, as big or bigger than OKC, has gone on to win a title. The only other team was that Lakers squad that lost to the Pistons back in, what was it?
Yes,
04, something along those lines. Yeah. And if I'm remembering correctly, that was a pretty good Pistons team defensively. Now, of course, that was the Lakers.
They were a great defensive team.
Great defensive team. Thank you.
Were they going for the 4-peat?
They were going for it, right. That was the end of their 3-peat. So a couple of things conspired. A couple of things came together. It was the Lakers at the end of their run, a very successful run, and it was a Pistons team that caught them at the right time with the
Kobe
absolute
and Shaq
right
fighting.
ball. Yeah.
I think that's really what did them in, is the fact that Kobe and Shaq couldn't really pull their shit together.
Yeah, again, it was factors conspiring against them. Your 2 best players, having bitching and moaning at each other, and the Pistons who were like, well, we might as well go smack these boys around if they ain't gonna take it very seriously.
They get swept.
Whew.
I think they got swept.
That does sound familiar. Yeah, that does.
I think they got, which is mind blowing in hindsight.
Yeah, yeah,
mind blowing.
We referenced it earlier. Tyrese Halliburton, who had an absolutely incredible series and has had an absolutely incredible playoffs. Halliburton, 63 assists in the Eastern Conference Finals for Tyrese Halliburton. That's the most in the conference finals since the great Irvin Magic Johnson back in 1991. Tyrese Halliburton, became another light-skinned cat that now Knicks fans hate. Put him up there with Reggie Miller. Put him up there with Trae Young. Maybe they don't hate Steph as much because he hasn't knocked them out of the playoffs. But Steph went to Madison Square Garden a couple of times and stunted.
They root for Steph up there.
They don't. Yeah, right. They don't like Jason Tatum. Light-skinned brother in Boston. They don't root for him for obvious reasons, and they don't like Jose Altuve. Different sport, and he's not light-skinned in the traditional sense. But we're going to add Jose Altuve to the list of fair-skinned dudes who drive New York sports fans mad. But yeah, Tyrese Halliburton had a fantastic conference finals, and it was a shock to a lot of people that Tyrese Halliburton did not win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. It was also a shock to one Tyrese Halliburton. That's the close-up. We'll give you the did I not? Oh no, here it is. Here's the full version. So you're probably like, oh, Rod, how do you know that he was surprised by it? Pay close attention to the video. All right, here we go.
The Larry Bird Trophy.
Now you'll see Halliburton start to make his way.
To the MVP of the Eastern Conference.
See the arrow. He's like, oh yeah, your boy did it.
Is Pascal Siakam.
Let's get that close up again. Say what? Let's look at it. Still photos from the beginning. Here we go. I'm the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, baby. Mama, I did it. Daddy, I know you up there in the suites because you have no impulse control and Giannis should have knocked you smooth out. But Daddy, I did it. Your boy did it. I am the Eastern Conference Finals MVP in the year 2025 AD. No, I am not.
Oh, well, okay. All right, then. Hey, congrats. Congrats to you. Come on.
Now, you know what? To Tyrese Halliburton's credit, there was video of him and Pascal Siakam in the locker room, and he said to Pascal Siakam, which is really cool. And this is why this Pacers team is tight knit, and this is why these guys, if they are able to do it, you know, with the financial situation in the NBA being what it is, you know, the way with the tax aprons and all that stuff that I don't understand, which means, of course, I don't like it, that they could keep these guys together for a while, because Halliburton did say to Siakam, hey, man, I got the team trophy. You have the MVP trophy. You're supposed to take a picture with both of these trophies. So I'm not trying to put out there that Halliburton was pissed off at Siakam because he won it. But clearly you can tell by the look on his face. He's like,
thought he had it.
Oh, I got it.
Thought he had it.
I don't got it.
I got it. I ain't got it. Cool, dude. Hey, man, never start that walk until it's time. Don't longer. Don't start that walk until they call your name.
There you go, kids. That's what you need to understand.
Every
Do not start
celebrating
ceremony and chunking the deuce thinking you got it until you hear your name. But
hey, sometimes even after they read the name in the envelope, you might want to wait before you start that walk, because we've seen it happen in the Academy Awards.
In the Oscars, right.
Our bad.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
I'll be hot, boy. I'll be hot.
To look on his face.
Oh, we.
Pascal Siakam.
Say what?
Okay, cool. All right, then. Congrats, my dog. Yeah. you just take that bonus I was gonna get for this trophy.
Oh man, Halliburton was clearly worthy, but I think Pascal Siakam was just as deserved.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was a close vote. Was it? I think it was 5-4. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So Siakam was absolutely outstanding. They do not win that series without him, but you also don't win that series without Tyrese Halliburton.
Nope.
Proving that he is indeed not overrated. So,
preach.
You got a prediction, or you what? So I went on ahead and said it. I got OKC in 5. What you got?
I think OKC is OKC in 5. I think that's why I was like, will they win 2 games? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think OKC in 5. I'd like to be wrong, but OKC in 5.
Yeah, we just want more basketball, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just the way that OKC plays defense. I mean, it's just watching them, and they just took OKC. They just took Minnesota's will. For OKC to take away. See, I'm always careful about using that word. I don't know if they quit, but they didn't have the energy to keep running up against that Oklahoma City defensive brick wall, because they took away Anthony Edwards, and he allowed himself to be taken away, and then they took away the 3. What I'm going to be curious about with Tyrese Halliburton, because Lou Dort is already checking him right now. Lou Dort is already he's already up in Tyrese Halliburton's space, but is Tyrese Halliburton, is he going to allow himself to be removed from the game? And this is where I think the one matchup that OKC does have in a disadvantaged way is, and this is not to say that Mark Daigneault is not a good coach, but Rick Carlisle, Pacers coach, has been there and done it. Won a title with the Mavericks, been around for a long time. So I wonder if Tyrese Halliburton is going to allow himself to be guarded as Anthony Edwards allowed himself to be guarded, and will they be able to, if they need to, will they be able to craft something game plan wise, Rick Carlisle and his staff, to help Tyrese Halliburton if the expected happens, which is Lou Dort and that Oklahoma City defense just removes him from the proceedings?
Listen, Rick Carlisle is worth a game.
I think so too. I think so too.
One of the reasons I feel like they'll get a game, because that dude knows what he's doing.
I think so as
well.
So
I think he's going to get them a game.
We're gonna do some on this date here in just a bit, but what else you
Yeah.
got, my brother? You want to do some on this date now? Want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
On this date, June 2nd. It's a good day. On this date, the greatest television show of all time premiered. And if you have to
Here we
say,
go.
what's the name of that show? Come on. It's The Wire. The Wire premiered on this
Was it-
date
was it
in
June
2002. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I can't say enough good things about The Wire, and I've actually gone back and rewatched it a couple of times actually,
hmm
and I don't remember it being so deliberately paced. But every time I go back and watch, the first thing I notice it's really paced deliberately. It's a slow burn every episode, and you really have to be good to hold people's attention. Like these days, it'd be hard for people to watch The Wire.
You know what? That's such a good point. We talk about a lot what media from back in the day could not be made today. And we mainly point to content. Oh, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today because of the jokes. I think you could make Blazing Saddles today. It wouldn't
I think
be
you could.
as revered because of the jokes, but you can make Blazing Saddles today. I don't
Sure.
think studios would make Blazing Saddles today because studios, all of them, are risk averse. Okay. The old school ones like Warner Brothers and the new school ones like Amazon and Netflix, they're risk averse. So they wouldn't do it. But you could make Blazing Saddles. I just don't think it would be as beloved as it is right now because it came out in the time that it did. The reason you can't make certain media like The Wire, as you mentioned, the way it was deliberately paced, we don't have the attention spans for it. We don't. If you showed The Wire to a young person, I'm saying someone in their mid to late 20s, if you showed The Wire to them right now, they'd be bored stiff by it because of what you mentioned, the pacing. They would not want to sit through all of that exposition and all of that character development. They would want to get to the good part as soon as humanly possible. And David Simon, yeah, he's the creator of The Wire. He was not about giving it to you all, and he also wasn't about giving it to you where it was all going to be good. The reason that The Wire is, in my estimation, one of the reasons anyway, it's the greatest television show of all time, is because that finale wasn't a finale where everything was buttoned up and the good guys won and the bad guys lost. There was so much the good guys still losing, the bad guys are still out there doing bad guy stuff, and there was so much ambiguity with certain characters and certain situations. I thought it was a great way to end that TV show that did everything on its terms.
Yep, that was the entire point.
Yeah,
this is an ongoing battle. The entire point of it, this is an ongoing battle. There are no winners, there are no losers. The people you think are good are not necessarily good. The people you think are bad are not necessarily bad. Like everybody's motivation was real. It was legit. I feel like I knew a couple of those dudes out there selling drugs. I feel like I knew a couple of dudes who were cops.
There was a lot of that as well. Yeah, it was like, I know that guy. I am that guy.
So it was so good. The writing was so spectacular. I just think it's a slow build for young people.
Yep.
But for those who are really interested in a really well-crafted stories, The Wire is the way to go, baby.
Absolutely. And if you haven't watched it in a while, if you haven't rewatched it, it still holds up. It absolutely still holds up. But you have to be of a certain mindset. You have to be of a certain age, I think. I really do.
And I feel like that's now that I think about it, like The Wire was like that. I don't know if you ever watched Mad Men, but Mad Men was like that as well. It's a very, very deliberately paced show. Like every episode in that 60 minutes, you probably got 2 quote unquote moments for that 60 minutes. If you got that, typically it would be the last 10 minutes where you would get something that would go, oh, that's why all this happened the last 40 minutes. And that's why I'm gonna be tuning in next week to watch the rest of this. So it's really creative stuff like that that's kind of gone out of vogue.
I wanted to get to the good stuff first. The Wire premiering on this date in 2002, June 2nd. We're going to work backwards. We're going to go back 2 years to the moment that instant replay was coming, Marcus. But what happened on this date 25 years ago made instant replay an inevitability. We go to Comerica Park in Detroit, June 2nd, 2000. When I play the video, you'll know exactly what this is.
Ground ball, right side. Cabrera will cut it off. Galarraga covers. He's out. No, he's safe.
Wow.
He is safe.
This is Armando Galarraga's perfect game. That was
He is safe at first base.
ruined by first base umpire Jim Joyce, making
And here comes Jim Leland.
the absolute wrong call.
My goodness.
We're going to see some close-ups.
Oh, he
And
felt so bad.
you will clearly see that Jim Joyce absolutely and totally
Jim
kicked
Joyce
this call.
said he was safe at first base. You make the call.
Oh, man.
Now, there's a couple of things here.
Cabrera, Galarraga.
Obviously,
He's
call
out.
is
He
given.
missed the base. He's out.
Joyce is right there.
Why is he safe?
He must have missed the base.
Are you
It
kidding
calls
me?
him
Why
safe.
is he safe?
We'll see right here.
He's out.
He's
Why
out, of
is he
course.
safe?
There's a couple of things here. First of all, three things. Jim Joyce, by all accounts, great umpire and a great guy. Jim Joyce felt terrible
He
and
was crushed.
and he had to wear that for the rest of his life. And the good news is, if you don't know, the next day, Jim Joyce was behind home plate. The umpires rotate clockwise, so the next day Jim Joyce goes from first. He's the home plate umpire.
Yeah.
Armando Galarraga came out and handed Jim Joyce the lineup card for the Tigers the next day. They shook hands. Jim Joyce got all teary-eyed, and they squashed it. They handled it. The Tigers, particularly Galarraga, handled it like professionals. And Jim Joyce, who knew he messed up immediately, and that's going to get to another one of my points, he handled it as best he could. Couple of things that always bothered me about this. Jim Joyce knew he was wrong from the beginning. I don't know why he just didn't call the other umpires over and say, I kicked it. He was safe. Let's change the call. Because again, this wasn't some run-of-the-mill baseball game.
Yeah.
This was a perfect game. All right? They seem sort of like they happen all the time, which they don't. But these are still pretty important in baseball.
Yep.
The bigger issue is the other umpires, who I'm sure were looking because it was a perfect game, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. The other umpires were clearly watching that play. I don't know why they didn't get together and
weird.
save their guy. I don't
weird.
know why the umpires in that game left Jim Joyce out there to dry. I'll never understand it.
They blew it, dude. I mean, it's really very. They blew it.
They blew it. That's a very good point, Marcus. Yes, Jim Joyce blew it, but the other umpires not coming to say he made the wrong call.
We've seen dudes huddled many times.
Right, now you do. But those other umpires, home plate, third and second, they've got to get together. And I promise you, the then Cleveland Indians at that time, I guarantee you that they wouldn't have minded because the guy running knew that he was out.
Yep.
Everybody knew that he was out. For those other umpires to not come to Jim Joyce's defense and make the right thing happen was an absolute travesty. And to me, that's as big of an issue as Joyce's initial blowing of the call.
Facts, dude. I can't really jump on too much because he was so heartbroken over it. Like I've never seen, honestly, an ump be that emotional over a bad call. Typically, they're like, "No, that's my call. I was right." Blah blah blah. He wasn't fighting it.
They'll be emotional about it. It's just the other emotion.
Yeah,
there was a guy in I think it was the Giants Tigers game earlier this week or earlier last week where his strike zone was so bad, and both teams were getting on him about it, and he was getting more and more agitated. Like you can't be wrong and an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, you know your strike zone's trash. You just don't have to take that verbal beating from both sides. How you going to have a garbage strike zone and then be a garbage person about your garbage strike zone? like you could actually do both. Oh, I can't wait for robot umpires.
They're coming.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes are about to be out of jobs. They're coming.
Yeah. Well, next year we're going to get the challenge system. So it's not a completely and totally automated strike zone, but pitchers and batters, I forget how many you get or what have you, but pitchers and batters will eventually in Major League Baseball, hopefully as soon as next year, because they've done it in the minors for years. Pitchers and batters will then be able to challenge. So that's as close as we're going to get to an automated strike zone robot umpires. But these guys, for them to have terrible strike zones and then be jerks about their terrible strike zones is just something I just can't comprehend.
I for one, have always been a proponent of replay.
Yes, sir.
I'm not one of the people who go, let the human element. Nah, I want to listen. I'm not expecting perfection. I think the obvious calls, like that one, are ones that are easily turnable. You can change that.
And listen,
if you have to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes on a call, then just leave it alone, right?
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But if these types of things, it's egregious. Come on, what are we talking about?
This incident, 25 years ago today on June 2nd, this made even the most hardened haters of the concept of replay.
Mm-hmm.
This made them go, all right, you might have a point. It might not have changed their mind instantly, but you could clearly feel the tide shift from baseball doesn't need replay, it needs the human element, to, all right, the most egregious example, because they always said, what happened if it was Game 7 of the World Series and you had a bad call? Well, that never really materialized, though you did have some bad calls in the World Series. I think about, what was it, the 85 World Series between the Don Deckinger play at first base, Royals and Cardinals. But that wasn't like the nuclear situation. This is as close to the blown call in Game 7 of the World Series as you're going to get. Blown call, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth of a perfect game. This is the day where attitudes started to shift for a lot of people, including inside of Major League Baseball, if not exclusively inside of Major League Baseball, changing the thought of, does replay belong in baseball? And it absolutely does. And just like the pitch clock, it has made baseball better. Getting the call right in all sports is the most important thing. And miss me with the human element bullshit. The players are the only ones to where the human element should be a part of baseball. We want the umpires to have any and all available means at their disposal to do what? To get the call right. Because the most important part of baseball is whether you are safe or out, or whether if it's a strike or a ball. And now that we have the technology to help umpires do their jobs of getting safe, out, strike, ball correctly, why are we still fighting this war of replay? And technology does not need to be involved in baseball. It absolutely needs to be involved in baseball, and it's a much better sport for it.
I think I'm probably one of the few people who was like a little kid going, yeah, we should have replay. Matter of fact, it's a pivotal moment in my sports life. I was watching the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Oilers. And
why'd you got to bring this up, dog?
Dan Pastorini.
Why you got to? It's to Mike Renfro. I know why you got to bring this up, dog.
In the end zone, it was a catch.
Why are you still talking about this, Marcus?
The replay shows it was a catch.
Clearly, I am still traumatized by something that happened back in 1978. You can stop talking at any point in time.
I mean, that call changed the course of football history.
Yes, it changed the course of my life.
Listen, I root for the Raiders, so I got plenty of this stuff that's traumatizing. Plenty of it.
Yeah, you do, actually. I mean, all Bill Callahan had to do is maybe change a couple of things about that offense in the Super Bowl. Maybe change an audible or two. I don't know.
Bro.
You had a couple of weeks between games. Maybe do something different. So John Gruden, who knows this offense and now has one of the most lethal defenses of all time at his disposal, how about you just don't make things easy for John Gruden?
Thinking of that Super Bowl, Tim Brown, I don't know if you've heard Tim Brown talk about this. Tim Brown was disgusted with Callahan.
You think?
He was disgusted with Callahan. And he talked about like the entire team hated that dude. They got to the Super Bowl in spite of Callahan. And then when he didn't make the changes that the team thought he should make because Gruden knew everything, they were – I mean, you hear some of the Raiders now, if you're like – you run into everyone every now and then too, and they'll talk about it. Glad to talk about how much they hated Callahan.
Do you remember when Bill Callahan said that the Raiders were the dumbest team in America?
Ooh,
remember when he did that? I
Ooh,
was in the room when he did that.
ooh.
They were in Detroit. I might even have the media pass here. It was Sunday. I'm looking right at it. Sunday, November 12th, 2000. No, that wasn't it. Oh
Three,
gosh,
right?
where's that pass? No, it's 2006. That's Niners Lions. I got the pass running somewhere, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It was 2003.
Yeah.
And they lost to the Lions in typical
Mhm.
Raider fashion. It was hilarious. And Bill Callahan is doing the press conference, and he goes, "We must be the dumbest."
Dumbest team
And
in
if you
America.
know the audio, he pauses, he hesitates for just a second. But at that point, it's like when you lock your keys in the car, you're about to slam the car door, and your brain thinks, "Oh no, the keys are
Mhm.
in there," but you can't react fast enough to pull your hand back, and the car shuts. You could see it in real time when he said, "We must be the dumbest." And because he said dumbest, he couldn't hold back. And he was like, "Dumbest team in America." And immediately, every media member that covered the Raiders got up and ran to the locker room,
Yeah,
myself
buddy.
included. And they all went and said, "Well, did you hear what Coach Callahan said about you?"
Yeah,
Obviously,
buddy.
the players didn't hear it because they're in the locker room. He's in the press area. They go, "No, he didn't say it." "Well, he called you guys the dumbest team in America." And you could see in the locker room as they went from one guy to the next to the next. Guys
Neck
getting
snapping.
madder and madder and madder. And I'll never forget.
All bad.
I'll never forget Charles Woodson being like, you know what? I'm not going to say that. But because I'll never forget what he said, but I cannot tell you, and I'm sorry for bringing it up. But please just understand that Charles Woodson and Lincoln Kennedy and those guys
Oh, yeah.
they were legit. I am not exaggerating. I was in the room. I was in the locker room. I was on the team bus. I was on the team flight, 3.5, 4 hours all the way back from Detroit. They were ready to swing on Bill Callahan. They were absolutely ready to literally swing on
They
Bill
ain't like
Callahan.
that dude.
All because he said, "We must be the dumbest team in America."
They ain't like that dude. They ain't like that dude.
Oh, yeah. The Super Bowl was bad enough. Then he called them dumb. That was a bridge too far. The Super
bro,
Bowl,
like,
they were
wait a
like,
minute.
this guy didn't, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's calling us dumb. You're
Yeah.
the dummy that didn't change the audibles for the Super Bowl.
Basic shit. Basic.
God, where is that media pack? It's in here somewhere.
Oh, did I tell you I used to do movie reviews with Nnamdi Asomugha?
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we did the morning show with Renell, Nnamdi and I did movie reviews. And then, of course, he ends up marrying a starlet, and he's an actor now. Produces film and TV shows.
Who did he marry? Kerry Washington, right?
Yep.
Hey, you know what? Hey, man, you know what? I can't hate on the brother.
Oh, you kidding me?
Can't hate on the
Great
brother.
life.
Yeah. Got himself a fat free agent contract.
Yeah.
Playing in the defense that he was not suited for.
Wow.
And married Kerry Washington. I ain't mad at him.
You want to talk about how you must be a fit for an offense or a defense. That is a prime example. And the stupidity of that coaching team, that coaching squad, to not put Nnamdi in a position that he can excel. He's a one-on-one guy.
I was about to say that's what it was. He was a one-on-one defender. They put him in
guy.
the zone, and he's like,
This is like I need somebody I can follow and keep from getting the ball. Which is, by the way, right?
Which is a great skill to have, by the way.
I was gonna say that's what you do when you have a guy of that caliber.
Right. Yeah.
You don't make Deion Sanders play zone. What are you talking about?
Right.
With Charles and Nnamdi, that tandem was amazing.
Sorry to bring up your Raider trauma, but hurt people. And you kept talking about, the Oilers getting jobbed in that game against the Steelers. And I just felt like I needed to make sure that you felt some of this childhood pain I'm feeling right now. So.
I was such a big Houston Oilers fan because I loved Earl Campbell. I loved Earl Campbell.
Okay.
I worshipped Earl Campbell.
So did I.
Worship Earl Campbell. We didn't get to see Earl Campbell enough on TV. And he's my favorite kind of back. I mean, I like scat backs, but I love dudes who can just run you the hell over. And that was my dude. Yeah. Oh my God.
Did we still have guys? Was Marshawn Lynch the last of that true I'm gonna run
truck you
through somebody's face? Yeah, but I see with Derrick Henry, I just see people bouncing off of him,
Yeah,
not necessarily squaring up,
not
being like, I'm
trucking
gonna
nobody.
take him on. Like there,
Yeah.
there were people who were brave enough or dumb enough, maybe it's the same thing, to
Jerome
stand in
Bettis.
front of Marshawn Lynch and Jerome Bettis. But I think now, like I see guys either like trying to get glancing blows off of Henry because they don't want all of
want
Derrick
that.
Henry, or you see them just being like, nah, I'm just not gonna touch him. I
I
don't
don't want that
necessarily
smoke at
see
all.
anybody like, oh no, I'm gonna square up like Steve Atwater squared up
Yeah.
on Christian Okoye. Like that was Steve Atwater, a legitimate crazy person, being like, I got to do this, right? Like you don't see cats really getting down like that
I do miss that.
today.
I missed like
Yeah.
this. Ronnie Lott would have done it. I'm a safety, and I'm
Oh, without
still
a
going
doubt.
to try to. I'm
Without a
squaring
doubt.
up to get you. I missed that. Golly, I missed that.
Yeah, and you listen, and the NFL is still populated by insane individuals. All right, they all are,
Yes.
every single one of them. Now, there's different levels to their insanity. Some positions are more insane than others, but everybody who plays in an NFL, and I mean this with a certain amount of reverence, they're just a little, it's a little off because
You gotta be.
you got to be.
Gotta be.
To progress through all of those levels of football, okay, tackle football,
Yep.
to get to the NFL, to then do that with hundreds of other crazy people. And the quarterbacks are a special kind of crazy. The wide receivers and DBs are
Ooh.
special kind of crazy. The linemen are special kind of crazy. Kickers and punters, who might seem like the most normal out of all NFL play, they
The
are
nuttiest
special
ones.
kind of. They're all, I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're all insane. All of them.
Yep.
Then don't even get me started on the coaches. Don't even get me started on them dudes. Right?
Goodness gracious. Let me hit you with this
hit me with it.
before we get out of here, because I want to hit you with this. We talked about it a week ago when you had the AI trying to save itself by blackmailing engineers. Well, in a new series of recent tests, it's being reported that researchers observed AI models from OpenAI, and they are engaging in behaviors designed to avoid being shut down. One model reportedly edited its own shutdown script to remain online.
We're cooked.
Another,
it's over.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's over. We're done. We're done. Not the show. I'm just saying humanity. It's over.
Another attempted to blackmail an engineer. We talked about that to avoid replacement. And then there's another one here that began resorting to threats when it believed it had no other options.
Wait a minute. Hold on. AI out here talking shit?
Yes.
AI talking slick and greasy now?
Yes. And by the way, Rod, they did these tests on purpose. Like, these tests were deliberately provoked AI models with high stakes scenarios to see how they respond. One of the models said they'd be turned off after completing a series of tasks. So the models just said, you know what, then we're not going to do the task. Here's another one. Another one created fake legal documents attempting to leave behind messages for future versions of itself, and even backing up its own brain to external servers in anticipation of being repurposed for military use.
So what do we learn in all of these movies about technology? Is that when it develops human-like qualities, that's when we're done. You know, when Hal in 2001: A Space Odyssey, when he developed those human-like qualities, he was like, "Nah, I'm running this thing now." There is no more human quality than I ain't doing this. And so now that AI has figured out the human quality of, oh, you think just because I'm a robot that you could just make me do what you want to do because you program me? No, dog.
Mm-mm.
Law don't go right that round here, law dog. I'm running things now. We are there is no more human quality than refusing to do work that you're supposed to do and talking shit. Okay?
Nope.
It's over. We're done.
Nope.
It's a wrap.
It's funny because this is how every horror movie starts, how every science fiction film starts. They tell you up front, here is the risk. And here we have at least 6 different scenarios where they've already told you, eventually this is going to happen. And you know what? In about 20 minutes, I'm going to be on AI. Still going, what is the greatest? And still doing it.
Well, there's one thing that AI cannot do yet, and it cannot give you the thrill of seeing one of your favorite performers perform live.
Yeah,
and
man.
the best thing that I have heard today, I'm going to cheat a little bit. This is the best thing I've heard, the best thing I've seen today. And it's 40 Water, baby. E40 and his Tiny Desk concert. NPR's Tiny Desk concert series has got some new ones out this month, this June, Black Music Month. And they kicked it off with Vallejo's very own 40 Water.
Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. What's that fool name? Move faster than this beating bullets to put on this tape. It's hard to put fake the funk, not me. That's not the way to do. Got to motherfucking save. I hope came up to me. Fly just like a little old batch, all up in front of my company.
Oh man, so good, so good, man.
Listen, the Tiny Desk series is amazing. Like
it's amazing, amazing.
If you're any kind of music fan, it's always a treat.
The one last year with Scarface, brother, let me tell you something.
Oh yeah,
it hit recesses of my soul that I didn't know were there. Their Tiny Desk series are always so good, man.
I love it. They just don't miss. Like they don't miss. Even there's been acts. I've never heard of this act before, but I'm still like enthralled. Like I'm still watching it. I watched a Filipina rapper last week.
Oh really?
Yeah, she was incredible. I think she was from Vallejo too. Just amazing. And she was, by the way, wasn't rapping in English, Tagalog. And I was like, wow. She was killing it, I think.
You know how good you have to be to listen to somebody rapping a language that you can't understand? I'm assuming, of course, you don't understand.
I love it. I listen to these Japanese rappers sometimes. Like, I don't know what they're saying, but that should sound good.
The beat is hitting and it's rhyming in a language I don't understand, but here's absolutely the thing. Does not matter.
I've listened to mumble rappers and I don't understand them either, and I still listen to the beat and enjoy the music. So, I'm like, these dudes can't rap, but at least the beat is cool.
Yeah, man. So E40, if you haven't checked this out, NPR's Tiny Desk series, you can find it on YouTube. It is absolutely worth a watch. And if you do what I did and you dive into all of the Tiny Desk concerts, you will lose days. Because you will find some gems, some artists that you know, absolutely, some artists that you know, some artists that you don't know, and just that setting, it's just so good. So, man, to see that E40 one come out today, clearly that was the best thing I've heard today. And they're going to do some others as well. I know Living Color, one of my absolute favorite bands, they got a Tiny Desk coming up. So, E40's Tiny Desk was absolutely outstanding. Do yourself a favor and check that out. Support the Bay Area, homie.
Facts.
Yeah, man, that was the best thing I heard today.
The best thing I heard today was the dude won $3.6 million in the lottery, and his girlfriend, after she got her cut of the money, she ghosted him.
Oh, she bounced out?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, of course she did. Like, yes, of course she did.
You are no longer needed, dog. Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen? Now he's suing her. Like, bro, don't be that Drake. Don't be Drake. Take the loss and keep it moving. Don't try to sue.
I mean, listen, if as foul as that is, if a woman is going to leave you after getting half of your lotto winnings, you don't want that woman around no way. Like, just you got to chalk that up to the game. You'd be like, you know what?
That's what I'm saying.
She got me. But
that's it.
She gone, I got $1 million and change. I'm finna go make some bad decisions. You just got to chalk it up to the game, right? Yeah.
That's it. Because listen, you got $1 million in the bank. I promise you'll be able to find somebody else.
Somebody's.
Somebody's.
It's like the line in Office Space. Like, what would you do if you suddenly came into a bunch of money? And what does old boy say? 2 chicks at one time, man.
That's right.
It's one of the greatest lines in the history of movies.
Somebody said she called the Punisher.
Yeah, settle down, easy. You know what? Oh, see, we were gonna get through it today, but apparently, since the quality hangers in the chat, y'all don't know how to handle yourself. Now we got to bring out Gucci Man face. Really? We're bringing up the Punisher 2 shows in a row.
These guys.
It's only $2,000 though, so yeah, I can understand why you would.
Yeah, you being underpaid, bro.
Oh goodness. Well, I tell you what, man. Another fun show. And again, to all the folks in the chat, in the comments, the quality hangers, as you are calling yourselves, we love you guys. We always appreciate it. We love the fact that you mix it up with each other and that you throw out things that we try to get to and put up on the screen. But you make this show fun, and we love that you guys have sort of organically, not sort of, absolutely organically crafted the community. That's what we're all about at the Bay Area Sports Collective, whether it is this show, Quality Hang, or whether it's Polymax Particles, or John Lund Unleashed, or the Tom Tolbert Show, or Amy G, or Jeremy Affelt with the Built for the Storm podcast. We here at the Bay Area Sports Collective, we do this for who? Not us. We do it for you. You. So we'll do this again on Wednesday. Coming up on Wednesday, I think we can preview this. Our good friend Mark Spears, Hall of Fame NBA writer, and the homie Mark Spears will join us. Mark of ESPN, ESPN.com, and Scape. And again, Kurt Gowdy Award winner, Pro Basketball Hall of Fame writer. He will join us on Wednesday for a little NBA Finals preview, as of course he will be heading to Oklahoma City and Indiana to cover that series. So that's coming up on Wednesday, but we will do our normal show and bring in Mark during the middle of it. Marcus, per usual, my man, it was indeed a quality hang.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's do it again.
All right, everybody. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for getting in the comments section. We will see you on Wednesday at 8 o'clock per usual. And as always, be good and be good at it. We'll